Hey, Jason from Bohemia Bees, and we are on the road early this morning. We are going to install colonies at a client's location. So you don't want to miss this one. So the girls wanted Starbucks, so now I'm stopping at Starbucks. Got to keep the ladies happy.
Is that for you? Here's that brown sugar shaking.
And can I ask you a favor? Can I get like 40,000 little cups?
I'm sorry?
Trust me. Okay, so we've arrived at the site here. This is the St. Andrews School in Middletown, Delaware. And St. Andrews is known to have a very good sustainable program. They invest in a garden, a full garden, and they have planted several apple trees. They've done lots for the environment. There's a massive solar grid that they've put on property. They just really have focused on trying to make sure that they're sustainable. And what we're going to do is we're going to install bees here, so to help bolster the garden, obviously the apple trees and the surrounding berries and nuts and fruit trees and vegetables that are here on property. Bees are needed to pollinate, and when you put anywhere from 10,000 to 40,000 bees in a area like this, they will see a yield, a benefit from the pollination. Even the local flora will help be pollinated to propagate. So this is why we're doing this project. We're grateful to be able to come here and have this location. It's a great location where we're located, and we want to make sure that we can leverage it and have these colonies thrive here here on the St. Andrews campus. Let's get to work on clearing the area where we want to put the bees. Okay, so we've got our location cleared out. We've got our pallet placed where we want it. We're angling it such so that it's on an angle. A lot of times beekeepers will put bees facing the entrance south. That's always not necessary. It's nice because then really you're capturing that sun rising in the east and setting in the west, the full day of the sun coming across your hive. That's why they always say that. And then you also want to be cautious of that northwest cold wind during the wintertime. We're setting it here the way we're setting it so that it's angled and it picks up all four hives that can sit on a 4 pallet, can pick up all the sun throughout most of the day or the majority of the day. And we don't need to worry about the wind because we've got a great wind barrier all the way around us that will block that prevailing wind. So we won't have to worry about that as well. So it's a good placement. I think they're going to be a good spot. We also are using four different style of hives today. They're actually very close in structure. The dovetail and the staple on the front is the same. And these are produced by Nature's Image Farm out of Ohio. This is called the Endura Hive wax dip product. Now this is initially, the product is made by Premier Beekeeping, and Premier Beekeeping has done a specific type of scratching or engraving in the inside to increase the propensity that the bees will produce propolis. Propolis, as you know or may not know, is the envelope that will go around the inside of the walls and on the frames. You can see it down here on the lid of this lid. This is a lid that we've had on another colony. And you can see the propolis that's built. They go out and get the botanicals and seal up the hive to help make it antimicrobial, antibacterial, antifungal, and really just very, very good and healthy for the bees. So we want healthy bees, so we're going to give them a starting point using these Endura Hive wax dip bodies, hive bodies. Now the two darker ones are not the engraved style, they're a copper dipped. So studies several years ago, there were studies that bees benefited from a specific type of copper, and I'll put that in the link in the description below to explain what type of copper this is. But these are also produced by Nature's Image Farm, And the copper helps with mitigating pests, right? It's not a pesticide that will harm the bees. It's not something that will harm the bees in any way, shape, or form. But by impregnating it in the wood, it's going to prevent rot. Those boxes will last longer than the other boxes, and all four of these style of boxes, or really these two style boxes, will last longer than most painted boxes or most boxes that most beekeepers use. So we're using these, we're choosing to use these, and we'll put links in the description below where you can get these from Nature's Image Farm. But that's where we're starting with a good foundation. Okay, so just diving into a 4-way pallet really quick as we place these hive bodies on here. These are deep hive bodies, which means they're the deep style Langstroth hive. And a 4-way pallet, it's set up such that there's brackets and channeling that you can see for it to create sort of the bottom board for these hive bodies. This way we can have 4 on a pallet, and if we need to move this, we can pretty easily. We're also taking the hive bodies, and you can see how they lock in, so they're not going anywhere. And there's a good seal. The only entrance they have is right here down in the front on all 4 corners, and that kind of separates the entrances to prevent as much drifting as possible. We're installing frames that have existing comb on them that are clean so that we can give the bees a head start. In here, we have a 5-frame nucleus colony that we're installing in each one of these. But we're giving them a head start with that drawn comb. We're also going to still have some undrawn foundation that we're going to put in here as well to even it out to make sure there's 10 frames. Let's get these bees in these hives. Okay, so when I light my smoker, make sure it's clear. I have some leftover ones from last time, but I'm making a little bundle of grass that I can light on fire. Turn that around, drop it in. I don't press it all the way down because I don't want to smother it yet. I want to give it some air, some room to breathe. Give it some good puffs. You can see it coming through all of it. And then slowly, I'm going to make another little bundle. I'm going to press that down slowly as I'm pumping because I want to continue to keep making smoke. And of course, close her up. And that's how I light my smoker. Okay, so we've got our 4 nucleus colonies, and just for a moment, I'm going to talk about what is a nucleus colony. A nucleus colony is a small starter colony. It's typically comprised of 5 frames, mostly of brood. 3 frames of brood, 2 frames of resources, and unless scenarios where you have a lot of resources along the tops of the frames, it could be 5 frames of brood. Ideally, the more brood you have, the better off, because that's your workforce, right? So everyone wants to pick up a nuke and say, oh, it's so heavy. It's not necessarily a great nuke if it's heavy. It could be because you have some resources for your bees, so you don't have to worry about feeding as much. But if it's a colony full of 5 frames of brood, packed, that's a good workforce. And you're in a nectar flow right now, or starting a nectar flow here on the eastern shore of Maryland. So therefore, those the bees that are in here in the next few days are going to find the forage in this area and start to pack this hive with all the resources it needs, the nectar, the pollen, and convert it into honey so they can make bee bread, which is the food for their brood. But we want to open this colony up, so how we would do that was we would take our smoker and put a little smoke around where they're at. They're going to be a little bit angry because they've been tied up in here, but if you look down in here, you can see all those bees that are down in there. Okay, let's pull them out and we'll show you how we do that. Get a little smoke to calm them down. Now I tried to remove some of that brood. Listen to me, that comb that's on top, not brood. We'll save that for another day. We're going to pull these frames out and put them in the center of this box, exactly how they are in this box, because the nest is established. And as we do that, we're going to look for things. We're going to look for brood in all stages. We're going to look for a queen specifically. And we have bee volume. You can see that's what a packed quality colony would look like if you're buying a colony. Let's come down here and I'll show you what that looks like. There you go. So that's 5 frames in here, packed with bees, jam-packed with bees, right? Busting at the seams almost. And so let's pull these out and see what we can see when we pull them and put them in the colony or the hive. Now these style boxes don't give me a lot of room. The Pro Nukes give me a little room to move the frame out, that outside frame, because you really want to lift that outside frame without rolling bees too much. So I'm just being very slow and gentle about it. Let's take a look at this frame and see what we see. I don't know if you can see this or not clear enough, but what you're looking at is a good workforce of bees. There is some capped honey right up here. There's larvae in all stages, from eggs to pupa to capped brood even down here. Now I don't see the queen on this frame. We're keeping an eye out for her. If I see her, I will definitely point her out to you. But this is a nice frame, and if you flip a frame and you see the other side, it should look very similar. This one's a little bit behind the other one, but this nest on the inside is far along. There's some eggs on this outside frame, so we could have the queen even out here. You never know. All right, so here's the second frame. Now this is much further along than the frame we just looked at. This frame has a lot of capped brood. That's the, it doesn't look like capped honey. There's a little capped honey at the top and right here. That's what capped honey looks like, right there. This is capped brood right here. So see how it looks like it's a patch, it's flat. It almost looks like it's capped honey, but it's actually capped brood. And this is almost fully capped completely. So I don't expect to see the queen on this frame because she can't lay on this frame, obviously. But I'm just looking just in case. And of course, if I do my proverbial flip, there you go. You can see this side also has some capped brood. And in the middle, there are eggs in that patch. So she's a very strong queen coming through. Now, I did find a second ago, let's set this right here and grab one, just so you can see what they look like. The bees you're seeing on this frame are what we would call worker bees or female bees. This is a drone bee. It's a little bee. It has a googly eyes, big googly eyes. See him? And that drone doesn't have a stinger, so it can't sting me. But when you have walking drones in a colony, that's a good sign because that means the strength of the colony is good and they're ready to grow. Another good solid frame of brood, a lot of capped brood. The volume of these bees are going to just start to boom here very shortly. Within the next 10 to 15 days, they're going to boom. Still looking for my queen. I don't see her yet. I don't necessarily need to see her. I'd love to see her in this one, just so I could put eyes on her. But there are eggs in here. There are one-day-old eggs, which is what we showed in pretty much in almost every empty cell. There's a one-day-old egg. I don't know if you can see this in the top corner here. Inside these cells, even right up here in the corner, there's our eggs. Trying to get in close maybe where you can see it, but she is very prolific queen. All right, and I do have a cup or two down here in the bottom. These are called cups, queen cups. See down in the middle, bottom down here, specifically this one, and this one. And that's the bees getting ready to think if they need to swarm, they need to build that cup. And I'm looking in each one of those cups, and there's nothing in those cups. Those are just basically practice cups. There's no egg in there. There's no larva. So I'm going to go ahead and pinch those little cups just to slow them down a little bit. They're going to have plenty of space to grow into now that they're in this new hive. Lots of bees on this frame. A couple more cups down here. I'm going to pinch them just so they can't even start a swarm cell. They have to start all over. They'll start it over if they want to do. The bees will do what they want to do, trust me. They don't listen to me. Not seeing the queen yet, but definitely have one. With the amount of eggs everywhere in this colony, I know I have a queen. All right. So we're going to do a couple things to help make this colony grow as I'm checkerboarding. And what checkerboarding is taking a frame that has some drawn comb on it, putting it in the middle of the brood's nest. It's warm enough now. You don't have to worry about the tight enough cluster. The temperatures are well above 55, 50 degrees at night. All right. One more frame. And I'm actually going to shift this over a little bit. Let's see what this outside frame has on it. Hopefully, if it's brood, it's going in one end. If not, it's going to go on the outside. Now it's all brood. But they're starting to cap. They're starting to fill it with honey on the outside. So that's a sign that but that's full sheet of brood again. Full sheet of brood. We're going to bring that right in here. All right, so we've got 9 frames in here, and I have a frame of foundation we're going to stick in each one of them as well. I'll do that at the end. Did not see my queen in this colony. That's okay. I saw plenty of eggs. 1-day-old eggs. She's in there. Maybe she's in the box. That could be also it. But let's get these bees out of here. I'm going to look in here to see if she's hanging out on the wall or anything in here. No, do not see her in here. But we're going to make sure every bee, no bee left behind. So I'm going to give this a quick tap. And then those bees are going to get poured in there. Now it looks like I got some water in here. That's okay. Not a problem. I want to make sure you all get in the right hive. Not a big deal if you don't, but I don't want the queen to accidentally get in that hive. Let's smoke them over. Put the lid on. All right. So one thing they are doing that's kind of interesting, I want to give them a minute or two, but I want to show you as they settle down, they're trying to let the rest of the bees that may have got disoriented that are flying about know that this is their colony. And the way they're going to do that is express a gland called the Nasonov gland. The Nasonov gland is what they use to help coordinate or really let the bees in the surrounding area know that this is their hive, this is their home, come here. And they do that by lifting their rear end up in the air and waving their wings to express that gland. Now that gland doesn't smell to us. Excuse me, apologize. But that gland allows the bees to orient. So let's just take a look and see what that looks like up close. Okay, so you can see them at the entrance. That's called expressing the Naznov gland. And they're letting the bees that are flying around know this is their entrance, ladies. This is where you need to go. So let's let them, we're gonna put the lid on, let them continue to settle down, and we'll install these other 3 packages. We'll look for a queen in those 2 as well. Show you if we find one. It's a migratory lid. And when you put a lid on, you always want to make sure you don't crush bees. So you're going to slide it on or put it on as an angle, at an angle. And that hive is closed up. Let's take a look at these other 3 hives and get them installed. All right, so I'm pulling that outside frame out. Looks like they are filling that with nectar right here in the middle. There is cat brood on the inside of that. Full cat brood, eggs, larvae, pupa in all stages. Elusive queens today. Elusive queens. Eggs, and looks like we have a lot of bees that have recently hatched out of that side. Same with this side. A lot of nurse bees on the frame. And I'm sure the queen will be on here if I just put eyes on her. Good capped brood. That's solid capped brood right there. That's going to burst here. This whole frame is going to burst here in the next few days. 10 days. 10 to 15 days. Some walking drones on this one. Nectar on the outside of this one. There we go. Always looking here, see if the queen's just hanging out in here. And she isn't, so all good. All right, close this one up. One more hive left to go. Let's hope we can spot a queen in this one. Cap brood. So if we were missing a queen, we would likely see queen cells everywhere, anywhere inside the hive. We wouldn't see any one-day-old eggs. We would see queen cells. So that's how I'm comfortable with knowing I have a queen. And I know that the question of the day is, Jason, why aren't your veil up? Why are you not wearing protective gloves? Well, just as I say that, I get stung in the ear. See how that works? Up till now, they've been generally calm, and you can read your bees so that you can tell whether you need to put your veil up or not. I tend to work better with bare hands and not having to look through a mesh. But that's not every beekeeper, and I would say new beekeepers who are not used to that, used to the smell and the behavior and the demeanor of the bees, to determine what, if you can take your veil off, or if you can, if you need to wear gloves. It's all personal preference. There's no requirement, but if you are, or potentially are allergic, or something along those lines, you definitely want to use caution. We're using smoke right now to calm the bees. I have this one bee that wants to just hang around me. So let's see if we can get these last remaining frames put in. Big sheet of cap brood here. Big sheet of cap brood. Big sheet of cap brood right there. Eggs and larvae in all stages. Beautiful looking frame. Look, they even have larvae in each of the cells that are empty in that capped sheet. Mysteriously evading queens. Wow, that's a great looking color. You cannot see this from there. I'll try to show this to you. Look at that milky brood. All that milky brood in there. That's your larva stage that you were seeing. I don't know if you can see that in the light or not, but right there in the middle is good milky brood. It's a healthy hive. Healthy colony. No queen yet. All good. We're going to give them a free comb. Put them. All right. Still no queen this time. That's okay. Let's go get our filler frames and close these all up. Okay, so we have all of our colonies installed in our hive bodies, and all the bees are in. They're calm. Got a few that are still flying around my head, which is fine, but they're doing their job, protecting their nest. We have foundation to put in each one of the outside frames. We had 9 frames left in there when we installed them. We put 5 from the Nuke, 4 that were in there with comb, and now we're going to install foundation. And you're looking at this and you're saying, Jason, why don't you let the bees draw out their own comb? Well, I would do that, but when bees are left up to their own devices, and they'll still do what they want to do, they'll build comb however they want. They'll build a lot of drone comb, they'll build whatever they want, and somewhat of a wild pattern, which is fine. But we want to try to control that in a Langstroth style hive, or in our hive, or in a managed hive, we'll call it. So what we do is we put, sometimes beekeepers will put foundation. It's plastic foundation that's heavily coated in beeswax, and it's on both sides. And this pattern, or this full foundation sheet, will allow the bees to start to build out the small cell worker cell, as opposed to a drone cell, across the full sheet. So rather than having big chunks of drone brood, we will have a full sheet of worker brood, which worker brood turns into workers, obviously, female bees, and you will see a boom in the colony because you have a lot more space to lay that out. And also is used in honey supers, which is a whole other video. in which you have the smaller medium frames, which honey is stored typically, that's harvested. And that's so that when you put these in a centrifuge and spin them out, if there's honey in them, they won't explode because there's either no wires and or no foundation. So that's why we do it. Okay, so the last thing that I'm going to do on this hive is put this last frame in, this outside frame. And something I do, and I teach new beekeepers every single time they finish working a hive, is you want to tighten and center the frames. When you tighten and center the frames, there's a lot less chance that the bees will put propolis on the top hive or the sidebars of the frames, and thus making them thicker and harder to pull out or harder to manipulate when you need to come back. You always need to respect the bee space. Reverend Langstroth, the designer of a Langstroth hive, early 1900s, didn't discover removable frames, didn't discover this style. What he discovered was bee space, which is the space between the frames, between the combs, in which the bees can work back to back on the combs. That allowed the bees to work both sides of the hive in the combs in their nest. But Langstroth frame, or the Langstroth style hive, which you see here, the Langstroth style hive, hang on, got me, is what he discovered. And this bee space has really allowed him to create a design that will be removable for inspection, so you don't have to destroy the colony nest or the wax that's in it to inspect it, and it can be worked and managed. Putting the lid back on, letting the bees know I'm out of here. I'll clean my mess up and we are out. Okay, so we've got our colonies installed here at the client site, and they're strong. We're going to come back and check on them within 7 days to make sure they're continuing to proliferate. We might come back and do some supplemental feeding if the nectar flow doesn't kick in, or if we don't see a build of resources pretty quickly in any of these. You've got a lot of drawn comb. They should start to fill those up, and you want to make sure that you monitor that after you install those bees. A lot of beekeepers, after putting a nuke in, they're going to start to feed. We're not going to do that right yet, only because there is a current nectar flow. And we want the bees to find that forage, start to bring that back, and naturally build those stores. But if we need to, we will. We will feed if we need to, supplement feed. It is still early spring, and the nectar flow isn't as strong, but there's a lot of flora around here that the bees can tap into and bring back. So they're going to make use of that. Appreciate you watching. We do small-scale pollination, small-scale setups like this for our local community. We do place bees as a service for pollination. Again, like I said, if you'd like to have bees on your property, get in contact with us, Bohemia Bees, or info@bohemiabees.com, or contact us on our website, bohemiabees.com, and you can find information about how to do this. And we can really help proliferate and bolster your production of your garden, fruit trees, what have you, in the area where these bees are at. Remember, there's about 40 to 50,000 bees, and at the height, there's going to be about 200,000 bees in these 4 colonies, 4 hives. So lots of bees in this area that's going to help proliferate and pollinate the local vegetation, flora, vegetables, and so forth. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you following along. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow these hives here at Bohemia Apiary. Well, beekeeping work for us, well, it's more than a hobby. It's sort of an obsession.